So Asmi is going to start, and she's going to play some Hofmeister. And so just play as much as you want me to talk about, okay? First of all, tell us how long you've been working on this piece.
Actually, got it in like late May, but then I had to take a 2 week break because I went on vacation to Florida. But worked very hard to get it into good condition, so I've had it for like a couple months.
Okay, but really about a month of work.
Yeah, like a month.
Okay, cool.
That's how far I want to get today.
Good, excellent, great, great, good for you. Anybody who else is in the room here, um, why is that a very appropriate place to stop? What happens next?
It goes back to the original theme.
It goes back to the beginning, right? So what form is this piece in? It's the form for most concertos. And if that doesn't get you the right answer, it's the form for most sonatas. So what form is it in?
ABA.
Sonata form, yeah. In sonata form, you've got the exposition, the development, and the recapitulation. So ABA, you're right. You're absolutely right, Courtney. But it's just a little bit more specific in sonata form with first theme and second theme and a bunch of key things and stuff like that. So Courtney, Esme has played for me really all the material except for the closing stuff. So it's a very, very good, appropriate place to stop. Okay, good. Esme, very good. You've developed a lot of coordination and stability and control since I heard you last year. I really am pleased with the progress you've made in that regard. Maybe we'll talk more with Courtney about Zelter and consonant sounds, consonant and vowel sounds. But that's one discussion we could have about this piece of classical music is vowel and consonant sounds. But another way I think I'd like to talk about is the idea of singing, and that really this classical stuff, there's a lot of figuration and stuff like that, but it's really also kind of vocal, I think. So Esme, can you play again from where the theme appears in A? Good. Now, I didn't become a teacher because I wanted to parody people, but that's one of the special bonuses of being a teacher, right? You get to like play your own version and exaggerate people's qualities. Here's what I'm kind of going to show you. You kind of do like this. So instead of, I'd like to hear it more like. You see what I'm saying? It's all like one line.
Mm-hmm.
That's more vocal. Good, good. So that was already very much better. I hope the rest of you heard that the way that was different. The biggest impediment to that is the way we learn often our bow strokes from our teachers when they're young. They often teach us this bow stroke of fast with a decay. So if you put that bow stroke in the middle of a melodic passage, so we have to be careful not to hit the bow changes. Try it again. There. Wow, that's a big change. Do you hear how vocal that is? And so that's not a new habit for you, but it could be. So here, I know we're a little bit impeded by the fact that there's a shift and there's also the grace note. Right? So let's take those notes out of it and just play those first three notes as your good. So I heard a little bit this as me. I want. You're lightening up on pressure at the end of the bow. Get heavy for the end of the good. Now. Do you hear the difference?
Yes.
So. So there could. You could make those gestures, or it could be. Right? You decide what kind of punctuation you're going to put. You're putting plenty of punctuation in the piece. I like it. For my taste, maybe a little bit too much. Okay?
Okay.
So that's a little something on the musical side. I'm going to go to now the technical side and just mention a couple of things. I might, some of these themes may be across several players, and so we might talk about them in detail with some players. I'd like to mention a couple things. Your left hand fingers, probably for all of us at any stage of development, the left hand fingers kind of flying open. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't store them close to the string. So let me see if I can help you guys teach the class for me, so I can just relax and sleep here. Unmute yourself if you know something to practice that helps prevent the fingers flying around like that. And Esme, you can say too. Aha. So the crickets win. So if we play double stops, that helps form our hand over the strings. So double stops are precarious on the viol. I remember my freshman year at New England Conservatory, there was sophomore year, very talented freshman. It was like, oh, wow, this guy's really, really good. And then like the third week of classes, I heard that he had injured himself. His teacher had told him to practice double stops, like thirds. And this guy was very intent, and he practiced thirds for like 4 hours a day all week. And he messed up his hand, and like he never was the same again. He never could play. Then when I was a senior, there was another freshman that sounded really good. Turned out to be Roberto Diaz. You guys know who he is? He's like was principal of Philadelphia Orchestra and chairman at Curtis. He's like really amazing. So anyway, but this other guy never amounted to anything because he practiced thirds too much. I'm not going to say that you should all run out and practice thirds for like an hour and a half, but you should start if you're not already doing double stops. Esme, do you do double stops?
We do.
Great. So show me how you practice octaves.
I usually do it like separate notes at first, and if my hand gets tired, I was taught to like actually play like the false harmonics, because it's kind of the same distance.
That's great.
And
That's great
Carlos
teaching.
to not practice those intervals for like more than an hour because she does not want me to mess with my hands. My left
More
hand.
than an hour? Do you mean an hour?
She wants me to. She doesn't want me to practice them for too long because I don't. She doesn't want me to hurt myself. So.
Right, right. So I would actually an hour would be like insane. So I would say 2 or 3 minutes. Seriously, guys, I would put on your phone timer for like 2 or 3 minutes, and you might do 2 or 3 minutes a couple times a day. But that's going to be plenty. So I like what you're doing, and there's a reason. The reason to practice double stops like that is to hear them. My hand is a little bit messed up, as you can probably see, but so that's kind of good. But really, when you're so that's good for intonation and all kinds of stuff. But you could do this. Watch this. You could still end up not really forming the hand shape, right? So in addition to that work that you're doing, Esme, I would love to see you doing this work. Do you practice like that also?
No, but I could.
You could, right. So try it. Good. So not to belabor the point, but those things which you played so beautifully in tune one at a time are not so good when you try them both together. So that means that it's just a different thing that you're developing now. And that's okay. That's a good thing. So just to be clear, I'm suggesting neighbor notes 15 times. Then neighbor notes. Okay. So that's third. That's octaves. And you could do those, Esme, I would say start with 2 minutes a day. Seriously, this kind of practice, which is more challenging than what you were doing before. And then after a couple of weeks of that, make it 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And then 3 minutes until you're up to like 4 minutes. Wow. Okay. It will really help. And then do you practice thirds?
I do.
Good. Show me how you practice those.
usually do it in like a scale, and I kind of do the same thing as the octaves as well. With
Okay,
testing
good.
those.
So I figured you're probably doing a pretty similar thing because they're double stops again, right? So I would say what I saw at that time is the wrinkle is you use separate bows, and I think it'd be always good to play slurs like that. Okay. As you do that, I'd like you to think about the two bones of the forearm and that they're going to support your hand. This one on the left side of your hand supports the first and second finger. This one on the right side of your hand supports the third and fourth finger. That looks so much better. Do you feel? So
Yeah.
a lot of times when people play double stops, they push their wrist out, which makes it much harder for these fingers. You actually need to bring the wrist around and bring the wrist ever so slightly in. Good, good, good. So just a little bit of this again, like thirds are harder than octaves. So maybe a minute and a half of this. I'm serious. And then in 2 weeks, do 2 minutes, and then do 2.5 minutes until you're up to 4 minutes a day or so of these. And these are the things that will form your hand and give your fingers the flexibility, especially the thirds will give the fingers the flexibility to not fly away. Okay, so that's something I think which will help you play faster and more in tune. Good. Can you put your viola and bow down for a minute? And I want you to play from the beginning of the piece. I'd like you to play with air viola, please.
Oh no.
Do you not like air viola?
No, I don't.
No, you should hear my air viola recordings. They are all awesome. Can I see you play from the beginning, air viola?
Something like that?
Yeah, you're doing well. It sounds great.
Okay, I can't take this seriously, but okay.
You should. Well, it's fun. Do it once again.
Wait, where?
From the beginning. Good. That's great. It's very, very beautiful playing. Great. Do it again now with the viola and the bow in the hand and see if it comes out. The hands are moving to the same place. Those were some pretty smart decisions you made. Yes, I know you're less nervous now than you were 10 minutes ago, 12 minutes ago. It sounds way better. Did that feel better to you? And so I'm going to ask everybody's opinion. If you think you have a cogent answer, unmute and say, why does air viola help us with our viola playing? It did. It helped so much. Well, it helps by reminding yourself of really where you're going to be in the bow for these things. When Esme played, she got a little bit nervous, and so she didn't approach the frog. Everything that approached the frog got kind of stiff, and then she wasn't able to go to the frog. So then it was harder to get on and off the string because this movement has a lot of on and off the string, right? So when you try and get on and off the string in the middle of the bow where the bow doesn't let that happen so well, it just becomes a lot harder. And then you're not successful in the way you want to be, and then you just get more nervous and not a good thing. Okay, it just makes it harder than it should. Okay, so I don't recall using this with anybody at Credo this year, but think of bow geometry. Think if there's some shapes, like there's a straight line we could use. That's a straight line is one kind of bow. We could make a circle. Suzuki talks about bow circles. We could make like a kind of a hammer stroke. We could make a ski jump. There are a lot of things we could do. So just think about bow geometry. Straight line, circle, accelerate, faster, slow, and punch. Then I angle this instead of being smooth. I angle this to make a right. Then smooth, smooth. Dig in. Ski jump. Ski jump. Dig. This makes sense to you as me if we just kind of think of what shape our bow is going to look at? You want to try it? It's very, very slowly, like I did. Good, good, great. So it's sounding good. You end up here. So it's hard to land that. Land it here. Then on the 16th notes, let's try not to make an accent. Here, no accent. Good. What do you hear? What do you hear?
It's definitely smoother and definitely more of the sound that I want to produce.
Yeah. And so this is funny because you're getting to the sound through a physical means. You're like, what is the shape? It's almost like if you were playing golf and you had to choose the particular club, you know, like I might not try and drive the ball down the course with a putter, and I might not use the big driver on a green, you know. So it's think of what shape do I want this to be, or like our kitchen drawer. We're blessed to have like 15 knives in our kitchen drawer, and so when I'm cutting up fruit in the morning, I don't want the big serrated, you know, bread knife. I want my nice little paring knife to cut, you know, the fruit up, you know. So it's getting the right choice of a tool. So that's something that can help you with your stuff. This idea of bow geometry, I think, is a super fun idea. Okay, good. So those are my ideas for you. Really nice to hear you play. Good to see your development, and keep it up. And don't practice your thirds and octaves an hour, but do practice them just like 2 or 3, like really aggressive minutes. Okay, good. So Paige is going to be going to play the first move of the Schumann Märchenbilder, which, if you mispronounce it, sounds like something that Donald Trump would aspire to be. Märchenbilder. So I promise that's the last reference to Donald Trump I will make in this masterclass. Sorry. And I'm sorry I did it, but it's just like, you know, I like that joke. Märchenbilder. Okay, good. I'm going to stop you there because we're getting to almost repeat material again. Good. Thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful, great. You have improved a lot since the audition tape you submitted. Also, like the right hand is a lot more secure. You've got a lot more, stable stuff going on. I really, really like it. Um, there were some notes that didn't agree with my understanding of how this piece goes together. And so when I was in college, when I was in grad school, I was playing for my teacher, and I would play these like Gavinier etudes, and they're really hard. And like she would like in the middle of like 7 minutes of playing, she said, "That's an F sharp. That's a D natural. That's a what?" I go, "Are you kidding me? Do you really like know every single note of the viola repertoire?" Like, yeah, she did, and we do. After listening to the same stuff all the time in lessons for 20, 30 years, yeah, we know every single note. Um, but we also have something that we're great musicians are always tracking in the key they're playing in. And when you're tracking in the key you're playing in, it's like having a code 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13, 7. Wait a minute. One of those things doesn't belong, right? January, February, March, April, May, Friday. No, that doesn't belong, you know? So this is one of the reasons that the Dan Miyake stuff is really valuable to you. And I was hoping that, that you would find value in it, because I think that when we're tracking in a key and we know what the purpose of every note is, we won't make those kind of mistakes. Do you know what I mean? If I was studying a foreign language, I might forget that Friday's a day of the week as opposed to a thing of the month. So you maybe played 10 or 15 wrong notes, and they were all just like a half step off or something like that, and they were kind of reasonable, but not when you know what the key is, what's happening with the key. Okay, so speaking of knowledge of the keys and stuff like that. Oh, guys, do you know all know who John Batiste is? He's the band leader for Stephen Colbert, the late night person. He was also the person who did all the piano playing for the Pixar movie. What's the movie about the jazz pianist?
It's Soul.
Soul. That's what I thought it was. Have you seen that movie? It's a great movie. It's a great movie. Anyway, John Batiste, super super talented person. He won an Oscar, I guess, for that original soundtrack for Soul. And in his thank you speech, his acceptance speech, he said, "I want to thank God for giving us these 12 notes. You know, Bach used these 12 notes. Duke Ellington used these 12 notes. All these different composers. It's just 12 notes." And these people, by the different ways we can combine them, we can make things radically different. By extension, we've just got like arpeggios. A lot of what we play in music is arpeggios, and it's keys and stuff like that. So, Paige, do you do a lot of practice of arpeggios? Okay, good. So this was one of two possible answers. Like she does a lot of practicing of arpeggios, but doesn't apply it to music, or doesn't yet do enough practicing of arpeggios. Okay, so I think arpeggios are kind of like a shortcut to other things, because when you know how an arpeggio feels in your hand, you say, "Oh, that's a D minor arpeggio. I'm just going to play a D minor arpeggio," and it's like, you know, like if I had said, I don't know, let's go back to the even numbers. This might not be a fair analogy, but if you know the even numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, that's great. But if I had to add 2 every time, and they get, even numbers, the way you get to even numbers, add 2, each number becomes a problem instead of a set of things. Okay, so you practice scales for sure. Good. I knew that from watching you play this piece, you were not encountering the arpeggios as a system of notes. So da 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 da. Can you play from there? Da da dee da. Good. This is a particularly hard one. Da da dee. It's a B flat major arpeggio, right? Da da dee da. Play that da 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 da. Good. Play that backwards and forwards. So once, I'm kind of a smart aleck, in case you didn't catch on, everybody. Just a little bit of a smart aleck. Hopefully not too much, but just enough to be dangerous. Um, and so I was teaching, and I never get bored when I'm teaching, but my mind wanders a little bit and ask like questions like, what if? Okay. And so one of the what if questions was like, that expression, I know this piece forwards and backwards? Like, could I play all my pieces backwards? And what benefit would be derived if I played them backwards? Well, I found out when you play arpeggios backwards, you really learn them quite well. So I would take that thing and just loop it forwards and backwards. Can you try that about 15,000 times? I'll come back to you in an hour and a half. Good. Now, this is great. You're playing note by note, which is good. If I were to come back in 10 minutes, you'd be playing it like four things, not one thought process instead of four thought processes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Try that one. Try the next one. This one. The descending one from the E flat, the very next one. Good. Good. Just do that back and forth. Okay, good. So make sure the half steps are where they belong. The two and three are together. Okay. Do you get my point about these little things?
Yes.
So if you play each module like this 15, 20, 30 times, I'm not joking about that number, then you'll get better at the module, then you can put them together. But if each module is harder, then it's going to be hard for you to sequence these. So that this piece is a lot of arpeggios, and the arpeggios are hard. They're really tough. They go across strings. That's one thing I would ask you to think about. Very small thing I would ask you to be aware of, Paige. And so that's something that might be a new thought to you, the value of practicing arpeggios. Something which I know you know about, your right thumb.
Yeah.
So your right thumb is sometimes a frowny thumb. Oh, sad. Happy thumb, frowny thumb. Happy thumb. We want a happy thumb all the time, right? When you have a frowny thumb, you're pushing the bow out of your hand. It's no bueno. Okay. Tell me about you and vibrato. How are you currently trying to develop your vibrato? What's happening with that?
Yes, I'm developing it.
So
Still, yeah.
the vibrato is tough. Sometimes takes a long time to learn. Are you doing it by doing exercises or what are you doing?
Yeah, so going up the fingerboard and then windshield wiper and little quavers.
Good.
Stuff
Those are
like
great.
that.
Those are what I would really, really good. I would call them kind of preparatory vibrato exercises. And your hand looks great when you do that. Do you do it with a finger planted much yet, or do you just do work on the motion?
Yeah, I do it with a finger planted.
Show me that. Good, 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 good. The first thing you showed me was up in third or fourth position.
Yes.
You know why that was? That was a very, very good choice, by the way. Why is that a good choice?
Because the wrist is open.
Yeah, you get to immobilize the wrist and move from the hand, right?
Right.
Can you play like playing a C C with vibrato? Good, great. So, and that let me just tell you about something I'm not seeing quite connecting in your practicing. So when you did this, you had super beautiful vibrato motion. We were all jealous. Like that was so good. It was really, really great. And then when you put the finger down, it wasn't quite as good. So the point of doing the vibrato motion with the sliding fingers is to develop the leadership of the hand like that. And then when you put the finger down, you see how my motion doesn't change, kind of stays the same.
Mhm.
Yeah, good for you. So when I'm practicing, when I start the vibrato, I want to go at least a half step. So can you try that? Good, excellent. Something else I wanted you to talk with. Do you study with Danny Stevens, or is
Yes.
he just your orchestra director?
Yes, I studied with him.
I love that man. He's such a really, really wonderful human being. It's great. I taught both him and his teacher. Hey, Esme, you live near Denver. Do you know Philip Stevens in the? He's the brother of Paige's teacher. So there you go. I taught them both. So
Oh,
um,
okay. Here's a funny story. I actually was a stand partner for like our annual youth orchestra like side by side concert with him last year.
that's awesome. He's a really good guy. Really good guy. Both the brothers are really really wonderful. And good violists too. Okay, so Paige, when you talk with Danny, I want you to have him help you and everybody. This is super important about vibrato. Super duper important is that the pathway of the vibrato should go across the string this way, like the direction my bow is, because that's the direction our finger goes. So our finger should not go sideways. And this is what some people start to do. In Paige, I see there's some confusion in your hand when you're trying to do these bigger motions. Your hand is like going weird circle kind of stuff, but it should go the direction of the string, direction of the finger across the string, because that's the most efficient. Because then we can do like this. There's a cellist who who uses his wrist motion very well, like he's playing with a what? A yo-yo, right? Yo-yo ma? No, that's just a bad joke. That's almost as bad as the Pinky Zuckerman joke about somebody who really can control the tip of the bow with his small digit. Anyway, so this is some stuff about vibrato, Paige, that I think you could do. I love the fact that your vibrato is developing, and it could be of tremendous use in this piece, right?
Yes.
So that's really really good. But I think so. Your motion is great. When you plant the finger, you're not using the same motion. So I would go slower, really slowly, and then try and get it big, and then develop it from there. Okay, so that's my kind of quick 1,000 miles away thing about working with your vibrato. Let's talk about the music. Um, so, Paige, tell me something about how you feel about this music, how this music makes me feel. How do you want to make people feel when you play it?
Happy. Well, with the theme of the piece to me, I feel like it's sort of sad, or I would just want people to really ponder when they listen to it.
Fantastic. So I totally agree with that pondering kind of thing. Um, this is the first piece of Schumann fairy tales, right? For those of you who don't like my mispronunciation, Märchenbilder. And so I feel that the other ones, there's a story. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. I feel there's kind of a story there. And I feel that there's a story there. and I feel there's a story there too. I can't come up with quite such a story on this one. And I think that's okay, but I get the sense of wonder. So, anybody, unmute and tell us what are the words for the start of the Star Wars, the first Star Wars movie. What does it say on the screen?
In a galaxy far, far away.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, right? Okay. And so every fairy tale begins with an introduction, in a far and distant land, in a time before iPads, there lived a handsome prince, Um, the Rudyard Kipling Just So stories are fantastic about setting the scene. So I feel that this thing does have a sense of wonder and setting the scene. And so in a fairy tale world, you may have dragons, or you may have, witches that turn children into cookies or something. I don't know, So I think there's a fair amount of wonder in this.
Mhm.
Try once again and just don't be worried about where the next note is, but try and play just this, like, when I say a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I change my voice. I even change something about how my shoulders are sitting.
Mhm.
Okay. So this is, there's technical stuff, but then there's this musical side, right? So just open up musically and see what happens. Okay, try it. Good. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I thought that was very, very much better. One more thing, and then we'll go on to Courtney. I'm going to play. Oh, this won't work. I just lowered the music rack to put my thing on it, my computer on it, and then I realized I'm going to play something with the. Have you had the joy of playing this with piano yet?
No.
We could try it on Zoom, but it would not be effective because it wouldn't be synchronized. But let me play the piano part for you in Zoom. And everybody, I want you to tell me what you notice about. What do you notice about when I play that? Anybody? One thing, the tessitura is very low. I don't compete with the viola very much, and that's a nice thing that's Schumann compositionally. I'm going to ask a very leading question. Tell me about my rhythm. Was that in time, Paige?
I want to say no.
Yeah, it was radically out of time.
Yeah.
Because this is romantic music and there's a lot of shifting around of the beats in romantic music, right? So we could do that, we can emulate that in our thing to understand. First of all, you could play with recordings and stuff like that, but you try it once that way and just play like eighth notes in your bow hand, but don't play them in time at all. Yeah, actually, perfect. Play it again now. Think that same way and just play do di because it's already so much freer. Good. That is fantastic. That's really, really beautiful. That's has that romantic rhythm to it, and that does a lot for creating the sense of wonder and fairy taleness. Okay, good. So I've got to move on. Thank you so much for playing that for us. Good job. Yay. And Courtney's going to play my, I will say it right now before Courtney plays it. Not my favorite piece, the Zelter Concerto. But I need to think about this. Courtney likes it. Are you playing the first movement, Courtney?
Yes.
Okay, good. And are you playing the whole thing?
I was planning on it, but it does repeat.
Yeah, we can stop at the recapitulation,
Okay.
which is bar 127.
Okay.
And then we repeat it again quite a bit. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Beautiful. You know what? When you were playing this piece, I liked it way better than I usually do. So that's nice. Good job. Good job. Let's start talking about this bariolage, which is the act of all those string crossings, right? The bariolage section here. There's this two-note version, and in my part, there's also a three-note version. Do you have the three-note version written in your
Yes.
part too? Yeah. And just to be clear, you're doing the two-note version. Is that correct?
Okay.
Is it, or what? Were you doing the three-note version?
No, it was the 3-note version.
Okay. So I couldn't quite tell. was my
Okay.
point.
Okay.
I couldn't quite tell. So which I think it's nice if that means that you have to just spend a little bit more time. So you're trying to do it. Okay, I don't know if everybody else heard that, but I wasn't for sure about that. Actually, it was about 70-30 that you were doing the two-note version. So, do you ever practice just? Do you ever practice it that way?
No.
In this three-note thing, the most important one is the third one. Da
Right.
da 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 da, right? So if just taking a little bit of off the pressure of doing the up bow perfectly and just do the down bow perfectly. Can you try it with just that bowing, please? Good. Yes, I'm not always hearing three notes, are you? Sometimes I'm missing that third note. So go a little bit slower, please. So you're going to do a curve and a straight line. I'm taking out the difficulty of creating two curves or a curve followed by a curve. That's really hard. Just a curve and a straight line. Courtney, do you hear that you're playing the middle note much clearer now?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's one thing you could do. Sometimes people do this. Did you practice it that way at all?
No.
Sometimes people practice it this way, even though the thing is a curve, and this is not a curve. The reason they do this is they want to feel every note. Underneath the bow hand, okay? You try it that way a little bit. Okay. Now try playing it about that fast. Slower, but I want you to feel in your bow hand. Can you go slower? You're not able to feel it at that tempo. Good. Yeah. Somehow with the grip of the middle fingers across that middle string, you're much more adept.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you and I have talked about this once already this summer, but not everybody else is. We haven't talked about this with everybody else. To do this really well at the frog, you should practice it all over the bow. Have you practiced at the tip yet, or the frog? So you should develop, good practicing develop you on this piece, but it could also develop your viola playing. Can you try it in the upper half, the tip? Tip, tip, there you go. Good. And now try it the frog, please. Good. And then you could try. Whatever the notes are, right? You can go all over the bow, and then you do it in the middle, and you're like, "Ha! This is so easy." Okay. So, do you practice this with a metronome?
Yes.
And you use it, what I would call acceleration, a lot of different speeds every day?
Yes.
Good, good. Does it include something as slow as this?
I did that speed to learn it, but I didn't do it afterwards.
Okay. And this is something really interesting for all of us. Sometimes these basic things are really important to refer to after we get good at something, we get good at it, and we start to replace some of the things we learned when we went slowly with some other things. So you don't need to spend as much time with that as you get better at something, but as you get close to performance stage with things, you can go back to some of these basic things. So yeah, good. So that's the thing. Really, it's I thought it was pretty darn good two-note playing. It could be a little bit better if the goal was to do three-note playing. So why do you think I don't like this piece, Courtney?
Um, I I don't like it myself. I don't like it because I think it's a little basic, I guess. It doesn't really stray off of the normal concerto lines.
Yeah, it's got one of the dumbest melodies in the history of the world, right? So oh, I get the point now. Oh, that's different. Right? It gets better after that. But the beginning is like, oh my goodness, really? Is this what second etude of what composer is this? Right? So it's really simple harmonically. So I think if we can somehow maximize our the idea of all these notes going together, instead of saying, one, 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 say eight. Then 16. So don't play notes, but play harmonies, if that makes sense. Okay, it's a hard interpretive problem actually, because the notes are so stupid. Play again from the beginning, and just play harmonies rather than notes. Good. How did that how did that feel to you, Courtney?
Um, I guess I don't know. I guess I was trying to not um, have as noticeable bow changes.
Okay. Did you enjoy it more? Did you like it better?
I don't like this melody, but
Okay, you gotta, this song. If you really don't like this piece and you play it for people, they won't like it either.
right.
You know, but so you have to kind of make it like this is the greatest piece in the world, right? Right. So let's play it like super confidently and strongly. Done. Make that a little bit more question because it's the dominant. Okay. Good. So let me help you with this first two measures. If we play every note with the same amount of bow and the same weight, it's gonna be boring. So can you change something? Can you either change bow speed or bow weight as you go through that passage? Oh, that's great. That's so different. And because you're talented, you changed both bow speed and weight. Right? But did you hear now there was a big difference?
Yes.
So what's that? Smokey the Bear says, only you can prevent forest fires, right? Only you can prevent people from walking out in the middle of their concerto because it's like such a stupid piece. Okay, good. So now, sorry, We'll just be honest about this, right? So tell me about that. It's basically the beginning all over again, isn't it?
Yep.
But what?
It's just a variation of it.
It's a fancy version of it, right? Can I hear the fanciness of it? Let's hear it. Okay, good. But you didn't do. You didn't make the dominant sound more interesting. So this is kind of, whereas this one goes. This one kind of climbs up a ladder and takes a few steps along the way. Can you make some accents and shapes there? Okay. Good, good. So you've done the best you can with this melody at the beginning, right? We've got again some dumb arpeggios. So, right, can you try that? First of all, play it as dumb as possible. Okay. Now play it like you're cool. Good. Good. So just like I was talking about Esme and the Hofmeister concerto, right? The connection of these notes vocally. I play. Do you do that bowing or do you do twos or what in 51?
I do the 3, and then I go 1 over it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You probably do 3 and 1, then 1, 3, right?
Yep.
Good. Good, good. Anyway, so this piece needs a little bit of help to make it sound beautiful, and I think we do that with volume and articulation. It's good. Oh, can you play from everybody from 70? And everybody, I want you to listen to the second measure. You can pretty much tell where measures are in this piece because of how it's constructed. Let's try the second. Try from 70, and everybody listen in the second measure, okay?
I don't have measure numbers. I have.
Okay. Do you know the long F?
Yes.
Okay. After the long F, find a measure that goes. Then that business. Okay, find that.
Okay.
Good. So, Esme, this is sorry, Courtney, this is something you're doing. You're going. You're doing a lot on the retakes, and it's nice. But because it's a retake, you're landing like somebody's dropping a large block of concrete on the viola. But I think musically, the last bar is more interesting. So arms and stretch. Stretch. And you did this later on when this came about another 15 bars later. Try it again. Tom. Softer landing on the down, double down. Do you hear how that's a little bit, A, much harder, B, a little bit more musical?
Yes.
So land light here. It's still a spectacular note, but for different reasons. Then here, you have to have active index finger and right hand fingers to ta da ti ta ta da da da, put the right kind of consonant sound in those. Okay, good. Great job. It's good to hear you play this piece. We haven't done this. We've been doing other stuff in lessons. Great job. Hopefully you'll never see this piece again, right? So,
Yes. Hopefully.
not that bad, but it's, it requires some stuff to pull it off.
Yep.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hey, Michael.
Hey, how's it going?
It is going well. Remind me what you're going to play.
I'm playing the prelude from the third Bach cello suite, the C major.
I've heard of it. That's good.
Mhm.
So, good. Yeah, go ahead and play it. I was going to maybe make a preamble, but I won't.
Okay.
How long have you been working on this, Michael?
Well, I worked on it for a while, and then I took a couple month break, and then I'm bringing it back for college audition stuff. So I've been working on it like probably 2 months recently.
Okay. Good. Great. Yeah. This piece is played by a lot of people. And it was like the big piece a couple years ago. I don't know how this works, but like everybody in the country always like they all play the same piece. Like last year was Walton Concerto, and then the year before it was Bach, and the year before that was Bach D minor prelude. I think everybody played. There's just like some thing that happens, sunspots or something, and everybody plays this. So one of my favorite stories about this. There are a lot of different ways of playing this piece,
Yeah.
and I would say that just in a general way, it would be great for you to have a really distinctive way of playing it that sounds like Michael. You know,
Okay.
there was a guy who came to audition for Oberlin a couple years ago, and his name wasn't Fabio, but it should have been. I mean, it was some kind of like it was like some Italian name like this, and the guy was absolutely like gorgeous, beautiful young Italian guy. And his dad was like the Italian consulate in New York City. And so this guy kind of said, "What are you going to play, Fabio?" I'm going to play like the beginning of the Bach C major prelude. And he played, oh. It was like super suave. And it was like, of course. It was like so perfect. It was like, it made a statement about that. So your statement says, healthy, good, well balanced, good hand shape and stuff like that. It says a lot of good things about you like that. It seems like it's a little bit pushed to be healthy, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Like you could play this like oh. It's just a little bit on the virtuoso side what you're doing. And that's
Okay.
that's good, but it's not quite relaxed or in control enough to do that.
All right.
So you're kind of that's why I say you're kind of in between things. And sometimes have you ever tried just like different things like play it angry, play it sweet, play it, sad?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
That's a really great thing for all of us to do, especially if you're good at it. Can you play the sad? Try to get from the beginning, just play it sad. Good. Let's stop after about 2 or 3 bars in each one. Okay. Now let's try and play it perky. Perky. It's interesting. I feel that by the second or third bar, you start to lose the quality that you were trying to get. You got beautifully in the first bar. It starts to go back to the default setting. Let's try proud. Good. Now let's try generous. Wow. I really, really, really like that one. That and maybe it seemed to did anybody else like that was like really cool for me. It seemed like it was striking some kind of thing. Maybe you're a nice, generous person. I don't know. I liked it. But do you do this kind of stuff where you actually just try different random words?
I haven't done it in a while now.
I mean, it seems like kind of a second grade thing to do, but it's absolutely not because you
Yeah.
learn things technically and you learn some things. So and we're complex emotions all at once. Like right now, I'm enjoying meeting you. and this is great. And it's also, and we're about to have a lesson after this, so this is kind of a start of a thing. But we're also ending the class, so I have like beginning emotions with you, and I have ending emotions with the other people. I love this, and maybe I'd also like to be home because I got a trip coming on Friday, and so we want to pack and stuff like that. So I have all these different emotions which are happening at the same time, and that's okay. And so my everything is made up and affected by these complex variety of emotions. So you could have like sad and proud at the same time. Your proud sound a little angry, I have to say.
Okay.
Um, but I was thinking of proud being more like, oh. But then that's when I tried generous, and generous got that kind of chord within you. Okay.
Okay.
What happens when we play this music with these different filters is we learn technical things that we can then employ later on. Did you hear that as you went through this, you did a bunch of technical stuff that you had
Yeah, definitely.
done so much, and so it's not the be all and end all to do this, but it's a way of waking stuff up. Um, the way we make different sounds is to arrive in different parts of the bow. You more than I would like for where if I get to hear you in audition season, I would love to see you playing this in more different parts of the bow. You kind of got stuck, up in here, which I would say slightly too far. If you're going to get stuck somewhere in this piece, it might be better to stuck in the middle. But sometimes you want to make these forays at the frog and at the tip, here. Sometimes maybe that's going to be at the tip, right? Right. So you want that to move around the bow. So characters, mastery of where you are on the bow, which you're going to learn a little bit from the characters.
Yeah.
Are you in one of the quartet seminars too, or just taking lessons?
No, only the lessons.
Okay. So my friends in the Ariana Quartet have a fun word. They call it bunching. This is not rushing, but it's because rushing, the beats get closer together. But in bunching, the notes within a beat get closer together. You're half smiling like you know it's about your playing. Some of your playing, so like when you've got like 2, 3, 4, those notes don't fire independently. They kind of bunch and squeeze, and then you don't rush over the tempo. Those just notes get closer together, and you wait. Then,
All right.
are you aware of this? Have you heard or anybody?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a little bit
Yeah.
recently.
So, do you have a defense mechanism? Do you have a practice method to fix it?
Honestly, no. I've been practicing it with just in rhythm with the metronome slowly. Just trying to kind of iron it out a little more evenly, but I've just started kind of noticing it, so I don't have anything super firm that I do every day.
Yeah. So, I want to give you guys 3 words, and Courtney, I think I told you these words in our lessons, but super important words to me these days: awareness, capability, and habit. I want you to think about your playing in terms of awareness, capability, and habit. Awareness is good. That's something you can develop for yourself, or your teacher tells you, or a masterclass person says, this is a problem for you. Okay. Fix the problem. Can I fix the problem? No, somehow I can't quite fix the problem. I don't have that capability yet. So that means you have to do something to develop the capability. You can't just, like again, talking about the Russian teachers, no, that was, I was teaching a lesson in Florida before this. So sorry, wrong wire. So like some people say, like do this, care about it, think about it. Maybe it's not as simple as that. Maybe you just can't do this thing. You've got a physical problem with it. You're not trying to make them angry. You're just you just can't do it. So capability is a second thing, and then you might develop the capability, and then you fix it, and it becomes a new habit, musical habit. So I think that you have an awareness about it. I'm happy to know about that, and I'm happy that I'm supporting an awareness you already have about your playing. In terms of capability, I want to give you a couple of resources. One of the resources you can do is to think about each individual finger being an up and down thing. Just like, do you play Sevchik or Shradek or those things?
Yeah, subject.
Yeah, good. It's good stuff. Good. So can you play it again from the low C? And I just want you to play it like it's a Sevchik thing. Good. So one of the things we want to do, we want to measure two forces when our fingers come down. We want to measure the weight and the speed. And the weight and the speed are not even all the time between your first and third finger. And sometimes if you play 1-3, then 2 is weak in the middle. I don't know if you can feel that. Let's try to think this time of weight of the fingers and equalize the weight of the fingers, okay? That's much better. Do you feel it?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. That's a lot more clear now.
So this is a way for you to get in the middle of your process and give a new thing, weight and speed. Now, do you know who, I'm not pronouncing the name correctly. I should actually watch TV and find out. Simone Biles, is that her name? The gymnast?
Oh yeah, the gymnast. Yeah.
Yeah. Now she's awesome and a half, right? I mean, unbelievable artist, right? So when Simone plays, when she performs, we're not aware of all the stuff. Now let's think about someone behind the scenes. She has to tape up injuries. She's like got chalk all over her from the different exercises. She probably sweats profusely. And has a certain diet she has to eat, and all these kinds of things that are not glamorous, that are part of her. And then she works these things out, so when she like performs in front of us, we just go, wow, that's so great. She just looks smooth and easy and powerful and stuff like that. There's all this behind the scenes stuff. So what I just told you is not glamorous, and it's not interesting, it's not art, but it's a certain kind of necessary thing we have to do to present our art, right? Right? So that's something you could do. Another thing you could do, which is our minds have a tremendous ability to measure if we activate them. And so here, that time I played, I was thinking of doubles. So can you try it at that speed and see if you can think of there's a reason I'm not a wind player. I can't double tongue. Good. Did you hear that? Were you able to do that?
Yeah.
That's a good check on yourself. Am I playing it rhythm? That's a better check on yourself than actually playing it with a metronome and trying to get every beat together, because then you could be yelling all kinds of garbage in the middle of the beats, right? Okay, so great. There's one more thing about this, and okay, you see this recovering scar on my face. So I did a dumb thing. I rode my bike without my helmet. Today, I'm at school and I have my helmet. Okay, but never ride a bike without your helmet, because you'll end up like me. Okay, but that wasn't the only cause of this accident. The other cause of my bike accident is my front brake was seizing up for about 2 weeks, but I didn't fix it. Like, oh, and then finally the other morning when I was out on my bike ride, it seized up a little bit more, and I said, "This is aggravating. I'm really gonna." So I leaned over my bike while I was riding. Bad idea to mess with the front brake. Okay, so there were three causes of this injury, right? Each one of them helped, contributed, right? Just leaning over the brake, maybe it was okay if I had the helmet, whatever. So we talked about this idea of the finger fall being one of them. We talked about your mental concept of the rhythm, and then now I want to talk about what your hand is doing during those things. Michael, you have a really, really, really beautiful setup of both your hands. Um, was it Esme? We were talking about the hand supporting the two bones of the hand supporting different sides of it. Your This whole thing looks great when you play. I don't know if you know it, but during these scales, you're rotating your hand. You're not
I
keeping your
didn't know
hand
that.
good hand frame and firing from the fingers. Can you put yourself on uh, gallery view so you can see a bigger version of yourself? And can you play this without changing your left hand? I just want you to watch your left hand. Everybody watch what his wrist is doing. Right. You have this memorized. You have to watch the monitor, okay? Don't watch the music. Thanks. Do you see what's happening?
Yeah, that's weird. I did not know that.
That's not good. You have a beautifully formed hand. You're just not using it. You're not keeping your hand frame consistent. You're letting, like, for second finger, you're rotating, you're doing like three or four different weird things. And so when they're all coming from a different place in their hand, it's going to be really hard to keep it all organized. Okay. So, by the way, I'm being this aggressive with you because I respect you. And it's like, no, you can't do that. You're too good of a player to do that stuff. So those are the three things which are going together to make this not the way you want to. Okay.
Okay.
So that's just some little stuff. By the way, are you playing this piece with me in a couple minutes? I mean, you want to continue on this piece, or you have something else you want to play in the lesson?
I have this, and then I also it's a lot newer, but I've been working on the Forsyth Concerto
Okay,
also.
good. So we'll do something more. I will just mention two things with you, and then I want to respect people's time and give you like private lesson time. The last 15 minutes went by very quickly. But I want to work with you on your bow angles. Do you know that your bow is, it's stick towards you?
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah, we need to fix. We need to talk about how.
Actually, Mr. Kanopka told me that in my lesson yesterday. So
Yeah, we need to solve that. So that's a thing. The other thing is that you need to, based on how well you play, you need to play the Barilage stuff on the right hand page much, much, much better in tune.
okay.
So do you practice that this way? Okay. So everybody, there's when we practice, there's are we doing the right thing, and then are we doing it long enough? And long enough means vertically and also horizontally. So you're doing the right stuff. That's absolutely the right thing to play it with double stops. How much time per day do you spend on that couple lines as for intonation?
Not enough. I would say on those like four lines, maybe like 6 minutes.
Okay,
Five
yeah. So it's not quite enough. I would say that you could spend 6 or 7 minutes on half of it. Just a lot of smaller, slower repetitions. So if you're going to practice all four lines, it might be like 15 minutes. You know, and then how many days in a row do you think you'd have to do that, or how many weeks or years?
I would say to have it like pretty solid, like 3 weeks maybe.
3 or 4 weeks. That's
I don't
not
know. Yeah,
that's a
because
good expectation. Yeah, so it's not going to happen in 2 days. So that's good. That's the right expectation. So that's good stuff. Look, we're going to I want to end this recording so we can keep it to this thing. Micah, I will send you an email another Zoom link, which you can come into my private Zoom room. You may have it on the lesson sheet. It would be on the lesson sheet. So why don't you
All right.
meet me there? But I do want to end kind of on time so the recording's finished. It's been great to work with all of you. I mean, you all have come, you're all really, getting better all the time, the people I've seen. And, Michael, I expect a lot of the things you've done already. And it's fun. It's fun to learn how to play the viola. It's a never-ending challenge. Learning how to do things mentally, learning how to do them better. Um, Once you fix something out, the next thing comes out of place. It's great. It's kind of like trying to be a good person. You get something straight with one relationship, and this other relationship is out of balance. Or I don't know. It's fun. It's definitely worth the struggle though, and the challenge. So I hope I've given you some ideas, both in your playing and maybe in somebody else's playing you'd like to try. And we'll see you all. Oh, Paige has a question. Maybe.
Are these recordings going to be in the class file thing?
They're going to be in some file. I think they're going to be on the. They're not going to go up all over YouTube. So that's the thing. They are probably going to be in the drive folder.
Okay.
Yeah. So look for them, and if you can't find them it generally takes like 24 to 36 hours for us to get them up. But if you can't find it, you're looking for it, email Jane Verlakis because she's the one that's putting it in folders. Okay. Yeah. Good. Any other questions? Super. So Michael, I will meet you in the other room, and good night, everybody. Thanks so much.